It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Jen Cohen as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives in Yavapai County. And now, here's today's Countywide.
Welcome to Countywide. I'm Paul David. As always, it's great to have you in studio today. Back to school is coming up. August, just about all the schools will be back in session by the end of August in the area. Two guests today. We have Cottonwood officers Clint Combs, who is the school resource officer for Mingus Union High School, correct? And then we have Cottonwood officer SSO, which is school safety officer Corby Rice. Welcome to studio for the first time, Corby.
Thank you. All
right, today we're going to do a little back to school safety stuff. We'll take care of some of the traffic stuff, but I've got that lingo down pretty good, so we'll put a story together like that just to remind everybody that the school bus is going to be out there. We're going to have kids on bikes, skateboards, walking. Kids don't always look at cars when they're going by or darting out from cars, and crosswalks, you got to check those really well. So all that stuff is coming up. School's going to be back in session. The school buses, we'll probably hit the school buses towards the end of the show. That's probably the most important thing I think we want to talk about today. What I want to start off with is I'm always interested to find out how somebody decides to be a police officer. And then now you're a school resource officer. So Clint, why don't you start off, and we'll jump to Corby next.
I was going to school and over at Yavapai, and was broke around 2008. And a friend of mine was a sergeant with Cottonwood, and he was trying to get me to sign up. And I finally said, okay. Needed a job. That was
needed a job.
Needed a job.
And you went to Mingus. You said that before the show.
Yeah,
you and I both went to Mingus. Okay, Corby.
Kind of same thing. Was looking for a job. Wanted something exciting. Thought, hey, police officer, I get to carry a gun, go fast. A lot of paperwork later, here I am.
A lot of paperwork. Right, it is probably a lot of paperwork, right? Yeah, it probably is. That would be the downer of the job. But I suppose you probably do get a bit of an adrenaline rush when you got to respond to a call and stuff like that. You'd have to.
Every now and again you do, yeah.
Yeah, how could you not? So what made you guys decide, to go into the school system and not be just, maybe I should ask you this. Do you still go out on patrol? Or are you strictly in the schools?
I have to spend 80% of my time on school grounds under the grant. I'm under the school safety grant, working at the high school. So 80% of my time has to be spent on that school property, and I have to teach 180 hours of law-related education every year.
Oh, so you're an educator as well. I think I remember you talking about this last year a little bit.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, Clint was here last year when we did the back to school kind of safety show as well. And now with school shootings and stuff, it's a different beast for me. I was telling you guys before the show that when I was a kid, I don't remember seeing anyone in school walking around patrolling that was a law enforcement officer, but the times have definitely changed. So we have to have you folks in the schools. So you're teaching law.
Yeah, just various law-related education. It can be anything from, drugs. I've done classes on bullying, things like that. I'll go into the government classes and help with constitutional stuff, especially the things that we deal with a lot, 4th, 5th Amendment type stuff.
Okay. All right. You like it?
Yeah.
So 80% of your time, that's a lot of time.
That's a lot of time. The other 20%.
Okay, I was going to ask this a little bit later, but we'll come back. We'll come back to the next question. 80% of your time. Now, Corby, you're a different situation. Clint, you're at Mingus Union High School. That is your sole school, and you're a school resource officer, which is paid through the state education system.
Yes,
that's where your fee comes from. Now, Corby is a school safety officer. I just learned this like 20 seconds before we started the show. You're a school safety officer, and your pay comes through tax dollars to the local government.
Yes, and through the police department, through the city. So.
Through the police department of the city, and you're paid that way. So you're different though. You're not just at one school.
That's right. I'm going to cover all the schools that are inside the city limits of Cottonwood.
So that's, people probably think, well, that's just a couple, but it's not just a couple.
It's not just a couple. So the private schools, all that, I'll be going to those, as well as the public schools, and just kind of seeing what they need, assessing their need for it, and being available for them.
Now this is your first year doing this, right?
Yes, so this year we're going to be setting up the program, kind of seeing what the schools need from us. So it's going to be kind of an experiment this first year.
Okay. Do you have a plan in your head on how you're going to manage all these schools? Because I'm trying to think, you've got public schools, you got charter schools, which are public schools, and then you have we got private schools too.
Mm-hmm.
So do you know how many schools that is exactly? Do you have a number?
I think it's
There's
six of them.
Six.
7 with Mingus.
Okay, so it's not like you can go to one school a day and do that. So that's going to trickle over. So.
Right. So this first week, when it's just the teachers, I'll be kind of meeting with teachers, school staff, kind of seeing what role they want. You know, they want me in teaching classes, you know, and it, of course, it's going to be age appropriate. Stranger danger all the way up to alcohol, drug abuse, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or do they just need me walking around, going over safety plans, things like that. So this first week, we'll be kind of setting up what they need, and then throughout the year, we'll work on it.
Okay, all right. You know, hit and miss, what works,
Yeah.
what doesn't work, trial and error, and work from there. Okay. Now, Clint, you said, you both start with a C. It's got me confused here. I'm so confused this morning. Clint, you said the 80% at Mingus High School. So what do you do generally for a day at Mingus High School?
It depends. A lot of the classes I'll be teaching, they'll have me teaching to the freshman PE classes, because that's the easiest way to reach the most people. And I'll spend 4 to 5 hours a day just in class teaching whatever it is I've got to do a couple days a week. I've taught up to 3-4 days a week, depending on the circumstances. So I spend a lot of time doing that. I'll be teaching staff, training staff and stuff like that on various things. We're going to be doing active shooter and basic law type stuff. You know, what is assault, so that they understand better when they're dealing with their kids and stuff like that, how they can help me out, really, if there's a situation where I've got to take some sort of law enforcement action on campus.
Do you have to do that very often?
Yeah, it can get pretty bad. Last year we had 25, 26 arrests for alcohol on campus.
Did that surprise you?
Yeah, that was a pretty heavy year for that. Mm-hmm. You know, things like that. So there can be a lot of work there. Yeah.
Weapons?
There have been weapons, depending on the circumstances. You do get kids with knives and stuff like that, but like a knife under Arizona state law is not a weapon, technically speaking. So it's not illegal to have a pocket knife on campus, but it is against school policy, so the school deals with that.
Okay, so when you say that though, if I was a student of Mingus and I had a pocket knife in my pocket, Cottonwood Police Department, there is no state law that says I can't have that in my pocket, but Mingus High School says you are not allowed to bring a knife onto school campus. Right.
Usually in a situation like that where the school is suspected something like that, I'm there for the safety of staff, but it's not something I can charge for unless the kid has committed another crime.
I'll give you a good example. I can buy fireworks, but there's nowhere in the state that I can actually shoot them off, because we've got, you know, the local cities, towns, and counties have put in laws that although the state says, yes, you can do this locally, the laws have changed a little bit there. Okay, all right. And then if you're not teaching a class, you're still in the school, so what do you do the rest of the day?
It depends. Preparing for class, I spend a lot of time preparing. There's 2 different kinds of courses that I have to teach. There's cohort, which is a minimum of 6 hours over 9 weeks to a specific targeted group of students. And then there's general, where, like I said, I'll get into the government classes and teach constitutional stuff, help the teachers out a lot. You know, a lot of times it's just adding my 2 cents when they'll tell me, hey, you know, we're teaching this today. You want to come in and give your perspective on it, especially from a law enforcement perspective. Okay,
so you're kind of like Corby. You kind of get pulled around in different directions. And so that's got to keep your day kind of interesting.
Oh yeah.
You know, from day to day, it's got to be a little bit different. So Corby, you're going to be on kind of the front line of, okay, how does this work? What do I do? I'm sure you picked Clint's brain about what he does and how he does it. But what made you decide to become a school safety officer?
Well, I've been on with the department now for 8 years, going on 9. Came up, thought, let's try something different. I coach youth football, involved with the youth in the community through various things, church activities, things like that. So I'm used to being around them and thought, hey, it might be a good way to kind of bridge that gap between kids and police officers.
That's right. Grow them up right and send them out the door, and hopefully they're successful human beings in the world. All right, so we got to take a break. Okay, we've got School Resource Officer Clint Combs and School Safety Officer Corby Rice from the Cottonwood Police Department in studio today. Back to school is just around the corner. Stick around, Countywide back in just a couple minutes.
It appears these hot ashes are about to be dumped, which could possibly start a wildfire. How will Smokey deal with such a hot situation? The garden hose defense. Next, a thorough stir. Then another spray. And finally, feeling if the ashes are cool. Oh, yeah. Ah, yes, the selfie. A ritual practiced so frequently with this tribe, but not so much by Smokey Bear.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Being prepared is a part of who you are, but it's especially important in the case of a disaster. Be informed about possible emergencies in your area. Make a plan that covers where you go in an emergency. Build a kit with the things you need to survive. There's no one more capable of planning for your situation than you. Start your plan today. Go to ready.gov/myplan.
Welcome back to Countywide. We're talking back to school with School Resource Officer Clint Combs and School Safety Officer Corby Rice. They deal with the schools in the Cottonwood area. Safe to say, Cottonwood, Mingus, and Cottonwood Oak Creek school districts, right? So that means you're out to Cornville too as well.
No.
No.
Nope.
So just
Yeah.
Cottonwood. Just Cottonwood. Okay. Your attire. Today you're both here, and I mean, every time I see one of you guys come in my studio, you got an extra 10 pounds of garb on you. And 20. Yeah, 20. Let's not sell them short. It's a lot of extra weight.
The kids at school kept asking me, so I actually weighed it 20 pounds.
20 pounds, so that's 20 pounds. I've got Game and Fish. Shelly Shepard comes in here, and she's got the belt. And she takes that off, and I held it once, and it's like, oh, wow, I don't know how you guys walk around with this all day, much less fit in a chair. Anyways, how will you look at school? Because it's a little different, but it won't be for long. So, Clint?
Because my focus under the grant is as a educator, I guess. I'll be more in a polo, slacks, something like that. You know, I'll still have a badge gun. I can still take law enforcement action if necessary, but I'm mostly there to teach under the grant.
Okay. If there's something that requires a law enforcement officer at Mingus, I would think you're the first person that responds typically if you're there. Typically
speaking, if I'm not in class, if I'm in class, then no, actually they'll be reaching out to Corby.
Okay.
For help.
All right. Really, they don't pull you out of the classroom?
Unless it's a life safety issue. Yeah. Then no, it's very specific that I am in class.
Okay. All right. Why break up the class if it's not a dire emergency?
Right.
Okay, that makes sense. And then Corby, you might be a little bit different though.
I'll mainly be in uniform. Then, as the school year goes on, I might transition to what he's going to be wearing to kind of 511's more of a tactical pant and a polo. But at any given time, I'll have all my gear ready to go right there in the car, so I can throw it on if needed. But yeah, like you said, I'm kind of all over the schools. I'll be coming to the high school to help out when and if needed. So, especially at the beginning, I'll be in uniform, get everyone used to the presence of an officer again. And
do you guys keep your radios on?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's part of your.
I keep the police radio on me and a school radio.
Okay.
So.
Oh, school's got radios too.
School's got radios too.
So that's different from when I was a kid as well. They didn't have radios when I was a kid. You know, you didn't hear people walking down the halls with radios and stuff.
Right.
And same would apply for you too.
Yeah.
You're dealing with a much younger generation as well. But you said you coached the little league football.
Yes.
The little kids in the football.
That's right.
So you're used to dealing with all the younger people.
Yep.
Because you'll be dealing with everything from kindergarten till 8th grade.
Yes.
Kindergarten to 8th grade. So that's a huge gamut. So I think you mentioned at the beginning of the show, you're going to teach everything from from down here stranger danger all the way up to drug and alcohol abuse.
Right.
Wow, that's a lot.
It can be.
You know, that really is. If you think about it,
Yeah.
that's quite a bit to deal with. I mean, not to say you don't, Clint, but you've got, 9, 10, 11, 12. You got the last 4 years. Tough years too, man. Some really tough years, those years right there. But you've got to kind of take a perspective and drop it down and bring it up and, deal with different types of kids and stuff. That's pretty interesting. How often do you guys train for shooter type incidents? Because they're a thing in the country.
Right.
How often do we train?
Yeah.
We just had a training not too long ago with coordinated with the fire department, mostly to help the fire department train on some of their newer tactics and whatnot. We had been doing it about once a year. We were doing a training at various schools and stuff like that. That's fairly typical.
And schools participate in these as well, right? I mean, it's no good if you've got a plan down without the school staff knowing how the plan plays out.
That depends. We'll probably be teaching school staff some of the active shooter, active assailant, is what they're calling it now. Some of the training and stuff like that we've been to, we'll probably be passing that on to the schools and the staff and stuff like that, so that they've got that soon.
Okay. Anything we should say to the parents about something like that when it comes to an active shooter incident? I know in the past, if I'm a parent, but my kids are, they're grown and gone. But if my kid was going to one of the schools and that happened, the first thing I'm going to want to do is go right to that school.
Don't do that.
Yeah. Why not, Corby?
We're going to have a lot of resources come to that school, okay? If something were to happen like that, you're going to have all the police officers flocking to that school. And not just from Cottonwood. You're going to have Clarkdale, Jerome, anyone, YCSO, anyone that's in the area and can get here fairly quick is going to be there.
Sure.
Then you're going to have fire, ambulance, everyone coming, staging.
Yeah.
So if parents start coming too, that's just another unidentified person showing up at campus that we don't know who you are, what you're doing, that we're going to have to now check. So you're going to distract all these resources from being able to do their job.
It's tough, though.
It's going to be a safety issue, too, because if you've got unknown adults wandering around a school in the middle of an active assailant type situation, it becomes a safety issue. I would say learn where every school has a staging area for an event like that. Learn where your school staging area is, and you can go to there. That would be my...
Okay, now that's a good point to make. Do we know where the staging area is at Mingus?
I can't remember the names of the churches. There's one on Fur, just up Fur, and there's another one on Camino Real behind Home Depot. Those are 2 staging areas for the high school.
Okay. But there should be a way I can get that from the school. If I contact the school or through the school website or something,
and
there ought to be information on where those staging areas are. That's interesting. Wow. Okay.
The schools have safety plans.
Okay.
How much of that they're going to want to hand out because there's safety.
You don't want to throw your cards on the table like that.
Right. But there's nothing wrong with contacting school staff and asking, hey, what's the best thing for you? What do you want me to do under these circumstances?
Okay. Well, I'm glad we brought that up then. Okay. So contact the school if you're worried about something like this happening, where there might be a large incident at the school and things are going on and your child is hiding under a desk sending you Twitter messages or text messages, then find out where you should go to wait to find out, because I would imagine there's somebody designated also that would go down to that location to keep everybody informed and up to speed as to what's going on as well.
It'll depend on the circumstances, but yeah, there will be staff showing up there probably or something like that. Once again, it'll depend on each school's safety plan. And it'll probably be different because every school is going to be different. Their layouts are different, everything else. So,
but we didn't start just training for this 6 months ago. This has been underway for years now. So odds are there is a good plan in place. So find out what it is and what you can know about it, and then I think you'll feel better. It's like anything we talk about on the shows here is just to be prepared. So in case, we hope it never happens, but if it does, at least you're prepared. And when you get that message, you're not in this panic and don't know what to do. At least you'll know exactly what to do. So that's the goal here. We got to take another break already. We just barely scratched the surface of this stuff. All right, we're sitting down with School Resource Officer Clint Combs and Safety School Officer Corby Rice. Stick around. Countywide back in just a second.
This is Bruce Morrow, Transportation Manager for Cottonwood Area Transit. Remember, we cover the entire Verde Valley and Sedona. Cottonwood Area Transit has you covered wherever you want to ride in the Verde Valley, all day, every day. Take Cottonwood Area Transit through Clarkdale, Verde Village, and from 26 locations in Cottonwood. With Verde Links, it's a quick and easy trip to Sedona every day. Don't forget our connectors to Camp Verde. Visit cottonwoodaz.gov for Cottonwood Area Transit and take a seat. Let's go ride.
What to expect when you're expecting.
Like here.
A teenager.
Today, I'm going to show you how to teen-proof your home. First step, hide the car keys. Preferably somewhere they would never look. Challenges will come up. Be ready for them. Hi, honey.
Ready for the... Mom, you don't use mannequins in the mannequin challenge.
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
If you don't fix them, sparks from dragging tow chains could cause a wildfire, and that could be scary. Smokey. Only you can prevent wildfires.
Welcome back to Countywide. We've got just a few minutes left of the program, so I wanted to take care of, we talked about some of the things that parents can do to be prepared for this. Students should also, I shouldn't be bringing any guns on campus though and leaving in my truck, because we typically have that every year where somebody has gone hunting. Hunting season's coming up and school is starting, so if you went hunting for the weekend, just make sure you take the rifle out of your truck and put it away. If you went camping for the weekend, you were doing some shooting, take those out and put those away. School buses. School zones, 15 miles an hour. Should be 15 miles an hour. Watch out for students in the crosswalks. Watch them out darting from cars. You're going to see more bicycles. You're going to see skateboards. You're going to see kids to and from in the morning hours going to school. And then what's school out? When do you guys get off work? 2:30?
It'll depend on the
3 o'clock.
It'll depend on the school. I think what is it? It's Cottonwood Community School now is going to be like 3:40 or something like that.
Okay, so out. Well, that's pretty late.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I think that's 5th through 8th grade, and then and the younger kids get out sooner than that. I don't remember exactly when that is.
Nevertheless, between I'd say probably 2 and 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you got to watch out. There's going to be extra kids just out, going home from school and stuff like that. And then what I really wanted to hit was the school buses. That's one that always seems to confuse people. I think I've got it down, but then again, you never know. So what is it that we're supposed to do with the school buses? Because we really need to pay attention to those big orange buses going down the road in the morning and in the afternoons.
When the sign's out and the lights are flashing, stop.
Okay.
And we were talking about it before. Like you said, there's no place in town that you don't have to stop if there's a school bus stopped with the lights going.
Okay, I think the only rule that applies to that is that the road has a median down the center of it, and we don't have that in Cottonwood.
Nope.
There are no medians in Cottonwood to stop that. School zones, we should probably be extra careful through the school zones.
The big one right now is going to be on Mingus Avenue, where all the construction was done. There's a new crosswalk right in front of what's now Cottonwood Community School. I keep trying to call it CMS, but there's a new one there that the kids are going to be using, and it's not just going to be middle school kids, it's going to be little kids, kindergarten on up, that are going to be using it. So that's one of our big concerns right now.
Okay.
And Mingus has been under construction for a long time, and is finally the road's open, real smooth. And as all our roads are, when they're new and smooth, everyone likes to go fast. But it's back to school. Be vigilant out there, make sure you're going slow. Speed limit's 25, see a kid, slow down even slower than that, But
and the kids, if you've got kids that drive and go to school, that Furrent 260 is pretty busy during the school year.
Yes.
Furrent 260, there's a lot of accidents right there at that intersection. It seems to be very busy. And even 260 and 89A, I would imagine, is another one of the intersections. But I know Furrent 260, you guys respond out there quite a bit because the kids are just... And then have your kids be respectful of the businesses nearby the school, too. When they get out for lunch and stuff, just be respectful and don't hang out there and, talk to them. Talk to the kids, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Talk to your kids. Get active with that and just... you know, do's and don'ts and things like that, and be respectful to other people's businesses. That's it. We've got time for Clint. Thanks for coming in, and then Corby, thanks for coming in as well. Thank you for what you do. Appreciate what you guys do. Thank you very much. All right, that's today's Countywide. Thanks for watching, listening, and we'll talk to you again next time.